And just so you know, to give full credit, these are called medicine cards by Jamie Sams and David Carson, and they can be purchased on Amazon. It says the discovery of power through the ways of animals. And then the last card was the wolf, face up, right side up. And so the card in the last position is really interesting. It's likely to tell me if the Great Spirit has walked with me, alongside me, hand in hand, on this group project. And it says, but as every medicine person will tell you, matter follows vision and spirit. It is the law. This card is the place of manifestation. I just love how it says that matter follows vision. And I've talked so much about how map consciousness is a visionary state, and it's like a blueprint, and yeah, the matter of my life has followed this vision all along, and it still goes, and that vision needs to be created in some way. And all this that I talk about is about creating this vision, really. This Pure Potential project is about creating this vision, but it's not something I can create by myself. And this was fascinating too, because it says the wolf is the pathfinder, the forerunner of new ideas who returns to the clan to teach and share medicine. As humans, we also have an ability to be part of society and yet still embody our individual dreams and ideas. And that's definitely what I would like to do, and the same kind of language that I use myself. And it talks about how Native American peoples adopt wolf people as the clan of teachers. So there's this theme of teaching. And so I wonder, well, am I supposed to share this? Well, this card is saying, yeah, and the dog card upside down is saying, stop being afraid and just face things and share. The senses of wolf are very keen, and the moon is its power ally. The moon is the symbol for psychic energy, or the unconscious that holds the secrets of knowledge and wisdom. Baying at the moon may be an indication of wolf's desire to connect with new ideas which are just below the surface of consciousness. Wolf medicine empowers the teacher within all of us to come forth and aid the children of Earth in understanding the great mystery of life. And that resonates with me 100%. That's kind of a very esoteric way of putting all of what I've been saying, but it's sort of, I would like to help children to not go through what I've gone through. And so if I'm able to teach in some way, I like the word share better, but this wolf card is called the teacher card. And I just find it interesting that it's basically saying share and teach in order to have the fruits of this manifestation, or what have you. If you have drawn Wolf's card, you may be able to share your personal medicine with others. And that's why I've been talking to myself all this time. I framed it as talking to myself, just to myself for myself, but also with an awareness that at some point I might share it. And this card is saying, I drew the wolf card, so maybe I can share my personal medicine with others. And my self-dialogue is my personal medicine. And it's the medicine that I've used in order to taper off of pharmaceutical medications. Your intuitive side may also have an answer or teaching for your personal use at this time. As you feel wolf coming alive within you, you may wish to share your knowledge by writing or lecturing on information that will help others better understand their uniqueness or path. It is in the sharing of great truths that the consciousness of humanity will attain new heights. Wolf could also be telling you to seek out lonely places that will allow you to see your teacher within. And it's interesting because I feel like by sharing new insights, perhaps humanity can see things a little bit different when it comes to altered states of consciousness. And then it also says seek out lonely places. Well, I've been basically alone in California for going on 5 months. So that's something I've already done. It says you may find the true you. Look for teachings no matter where you are. Wolf would not come to you unless you requested the appearance of the tribe's greatest teacher. I just shared that for the purpose of how much that card resonates with all that I've been doing for this whole year. And it's pretty crazy that that got drawn. So I hope I'm not infringing any copyrights. I'm not intending to. What I'm actually intending to do is say these cards are kind of magical medicine cards. And my two other friends drew totally different cards that resonated with them. And my cards were exactly the cards I needed. If I would have had the cards my friends drew, it wouldn't have resonated with me at all. So it was just so fascinating how right on these cards were. And so it provided a lot of information. So I actually really like these cards. And hopefully, if reading that bit was not so nice, it is nice to be like, wow, these things are awesome. They're really cool. And yeah, that was really powerful for me to read. Yes, share. Yes, teach. I don't really love the word teach. I don't love the word loyalty. But it's more like fearing disconnection, and as a result of sharing and being too afraid to share, and where's the joy? So I still feel like I do need to connect with joy before sharing this. I feel like, oh, I need to create this and create that, but really I perhaps need to create my own joy first, because if I don't have a joyful spirit, then I won't be able to share this in a joyful way. And everyone wants some level of happiness and joy. So if after all this talk I just feel jaded and angry, then I don't know if any purpose has really been achieved. So I think that's actually good to remember, is move towards joy, because the hummingbird is the joy card. And at points in my life I have had a lot of joy, and just having that joy actually had the greatest effect on others and myself. And being really healthy brought me a lot of joy, and then I wanted to be off medications to be more healthy. So now that I'm there, I thought it would make me sort of joyful to be off the meds, and I am. So I could use that energy to just work in mental health and try and help people, or I could just really create and radiate joy. And the thing is that if one actually thinks, oh, that's selfish to just create one's own joy, it's not really, because if one looks at Dr. David Hawkins' calibrated scale of consciousness, the level of joy is actually above the level of reason and above the level of love, I think. I'd have to double check on that, but I'm pretty sure after love is joy. So joy is a more powerful state of consciousness, and just by being in a more powerful state of consciousness, that consciousness does a lot without one ever having to try to do anything in particular. So yeah, I think having a joyful nervous system is more powerful than having like a logical, reasonable one that's really trying to do all this stuff, because people don't like people are trying to do too much. It rubs them the wrong way. So I think just being joyful does a lot more. So yeah, I keep going back and forth pretty much every day, like focus on creating something or just go into being really joyful. And actually, when I was at the parade yesterday, I was wearing a fairy costume, and I was on my rollerblades with a little magic wand and just sort of tapping kids on the head with the wand, and they felt really good. And then people later on were like honking as I was skating back to my car, and just really joyful and waving, and I think stuff like that does a lot more. So I actually was thinking I should get a costume when I go home and just skate around and be joyful, and just use that joy to create something and not really try to do so much. And the other stuff may happen in time, like the stuff that I want to create in terms of a respite and a peer-run organization and some kind of peer potential project where people can really thrive and create the life they want and create something great for humanity at the same time, that's going to take some time to unfold. And I remember when I was in my first state of map consciousness, I thought it all had to happen yesterday. And that's actually one of the downfalls, is not having the patience with the visions and the ideas, trying to make them happen. And if I go back to what these medicine cards said, it actually says matter follows vision. So really talking to myself about the visions is just sort of to keep the resonance and the energy of the visions going, but not necessarily trying to volitionally do something to create it, because that actually makes it an action of the ego. Like, I can do something. I really can't. I can only do something if the consciousness of other people responds in a certain way. Other people might want to participate in sharing their visions, and maybe not necessarily creating them, but just sharing them, because when we're really connecting based on our visions, then the matter will follow. The action of consciousness on matter, on the matter of people's brains, and we'll start cooperating on something way bigger than ourselves. And what I really envision is something that might not happen in my lifetime. So to try to think that I can do it is kind of silly, but I can definitely move towards having a really joyful nervous system. That's something that I can do. And then people might be more responsive if I'm actually really joyful than if I'm jaded and trying to present these ideas. So I'm seeing that the joy needs to come first. So even I'm just seeing now that going home and saying to the clubhouse, oh, I have these ideas, I was away and you haven't seen me in months, and now I have all these ideas of things I want to do, is probably the wrong approach. Just really going back and being grateful to be around these wonderful beings and all the wonderful space that they've given me to get to this point, and just really feeling into that and resonating with that and being joyful with people, and then seeing what happens if something happens where there's invitations to talk about certain things, or certain things happen in dialogue, then they happen. Like, I've created that resonance and context for myself. So if there's an opportunity to share at the right time in the right context, then I'll say something. But to actually just do it out of context is not good. So I think important thing is just go back and be joyful. And maybe if I didn't even think of this, I would just go back and be joyful. I wouldn't be talking about it, or maybe I don't need to talk about that in order to remember. But there is this balance of really wanting to do something to help, but then at the same time knowing that I'm not in the position to do so right now, but I am in the position to create a really joyful life in this next year. And this might come across as kind of contrived to be talking to myself about this, but the thing is that my brain doesn't really have this solid grounding on step 1, step 2, step 3, or some kind of method. So just having dialogue with myself about this is helpful. And I actually wrote down how does this translate to home? How does my time away in California translate to home? Because people have been going about their lives in the way that they do. And I was removed from everybody's lives. I removed myself, and then I come back. So how do I translate this in an empowering way that's not I don't know. Just asking the question is enough, really. I don't really have to answer it. I'm just asking my brain, how do I share or reintegrate in a inspiring or positive way. Because I was thinking I could just say to people, oh yeah, it was fun, I had a good time, it was so nice to be away, I'm glad I'm back. But that's not really that powerful. And and it's not about trying to be powerful. It's actually, this experience here has been powerful. So how can I share that in a way that is empowering for people, or really shares the essence of how I feel, which is, it was so amazing to be away and have the space, and very challenging, and I probably won't share all the challenges initially, but I'm just so grateful to be back. And I'm so grateful for all my family and friends and the clubhouse and my community, because I wouldn't have got to this place in California if it weren't for them. So it's just really interesting how it's like, thank you, because of you I was able to go on this trip and do this for myself, and just go back and be joyful, and sort of maybe really just enjoy having a clear nervous system for a while, because that hasn't happened for a really long time. So to really put all that energy into doing so much with the clear nervous system might not be enough space and time to just really settle in and be grateful. Or I could think of it like, if I don't put this energy to use right away, then it's actually sort of wasting it or not being helpful. So I really don't know what the right approach is. And I probably relearn it every day, because today I was like, oh, I want to be helpful. And then I tried to help and I'm like, oh, I can't help. And then maybe when I get back, I'll be like, wow, there's a lot of ways that I can be helpful in some way. Or not even be helpful, but just participate and play a role in something. So we'll see. I'm curious to see how that'll unfold. But I was thinking about just saying how important nature is for me, and just share the important things that I experienced here, and then also share all the important things that I missed, and just be joyful with people. So I'll stop talking because this video is getting long, but I'll probably make another one. I have so much to talk about. It's incredible.